down, pin our hopes to the ground, but we can work it out. 'Cause giving in is oh so hard, when love is at stake. Where there's a will, there's a way. Now if we only knew how, learning to love, learning to laugh and fear, learning to fight through these years that bring us closer together. Learning to love, learning the first golden rule, knowing that anything is possible. 'Cause nothing's gonna keep us from, nothing's gonna keep us from learning the ropes.
I love that song. Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Learning the Ropes. I'm XLJ, the OG, joined by my other brother from my other mother, one Michael J. Duplessis. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, man, on this Thursday night. I know you were excited about the topic we are discussing tonight.
Two of my favorite things ever. I'm excited as fuck.
Let's fucking go. We are talking wrestling video games tonight, and long history when we're going to dive deep into it. But before we do that, as always, we got to kick it off right with the Plug-a-Palooza. Now, all week on Cold TV, we've had an awesome week here so far. A lot of amazing content coming your way, came your way, I should say. We do have our replay of Pro Wrestling 60 is available, as well as we've got a new episode of The Hunt where we checked out Applejack's Toys in Cleveland. We also have got our Naptown Pro Lucchini vlog is available now, too. You can catch all that here on Cold TV. And I apologize if I do have some technical difficulties. I think you can hear me, but I think the video screen's all messed up. Or do I look good, Mike?
No, you're a little laggy.
I am a little laggy. Yeah. So, you know, the Wi-Fi and whatnot. But we'll get it situated. We'll get it all figured out here at some point. But anyways, you can catch all of that on Cold TV, as well as we have got a episode coming up. Or I'm sorry, you can catch a replay of our SummerSlam week. All that stuff is up now, too, as well. So you can catch our SummerSlam vlog, which is available now, as well as our GCW vlog from Cleveland, where we visited the Superstore. All that's here on Cold TV. You can get all that awesome content. And, of course, we have been talking about it here on Cold TV. The biggest independent wrestling show of the year is coming up. It's next Friday. We are 8 days away. Check this.
Getting your monkey ass whooped by Uzi?
The Schmitty is coming!
Uzi?
The Smitty is coming Friday, August 23rd at the Owen Valley Sports Complex in Spencer, Indiana. Tickets available now. Get yours by scanning the QR code at the bottom of the screen. There you go. It is coming. It's going to be here very soon. The Smitty, August 23rd, and Cold TV is going to be there. So excited for this show. And if you're anywhere near the Spencer, Indiana area, you got to check it out. It's going to be an amazing time. And, of course, you can get some of our Cold TV merch over on ProWrestlingTees.com. Just go visit ProWrestlingTees.com, search Cold TV, get you a Cold TV shirt, get you a PW60 shirt. And as we always say, stay tuned because we'll have some more shirts coming your way. All right, that being said, my friend, are you ready to get into the topic at hand? Are you ready to talk some wrestling video games?
Fuck yes.
Fuck yes, indeed. But we're not alone. Oh, no. We have a very special guest joining us tonight. And we may have a run-in, too, as well later on in classic wrestling fashion. But our guest with us tonight is making her Cold TV debut, and she's about to become a big part of our family here at Cold TV and PW60. Let's go ahead and bring her on in. One Cake Face Carly, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing very well. How are y'all?
Doing fantastic. So excited to have you on and so excited to be talking some wrestling video games.
I'm so hyped to be here.
We are glad to have you. So let me start this off before we get too deep into this. I want to ask you both, what's your first real memory of wrestling video game experience?
Kate, you go. You guess.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, honestly, like the first memory with wrestling video games for me, that wrestling video games was honestly the only reason that got me into video games. It's the only reason that I got into like other fighting games like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and stuff. Wrestling was the beginning for me. And the first ever game I ever played was No Mercy on the N64. And that was actually the only reason I got a Nintendo 64 was to play No Mercy. And then the rest is history for that.
Oh man, I know we're going to be talking a lot about No Mercy tonight too, as well. So
Diggity dog.
diggity dog. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Mike, what about you, buddy?
Played both games around the same time, so I couldn't tell you which was first. One being No Mercy, and the other being on the PS1. Two of my childhood friends, Mad Cow Canal, had it. Was WWF In Your House.
Oh, let's go. I'm so
Ooh.
glad you brought that up because I want to talk about that a little bit tonight, man.
So arcadey, it's so stupid, but so
Fucking
goddamn good.
Oh my god, yes. Like fucking like playing in each wrestler's house and shit. It's like what? Triple H was like in a mansion, and I think Ahmed Johnson's was like a fucking gym or something.
Yes. And then like the Hollywood studio for Goldust.
Gold
and
Dust, yeah. And, like,
Radio Slave for Taker. You could change their outfit colors. It was so stupid.
it's like you could wrestle in like a cheap like a no-tell motel for Shawn Michaels essentially. Good times, but those are great memories. I can tell you my first memory actually. If you look close enough, you can probably tell the background here. We got a little WWF WrestleFest for me, which I know I'm showing my age, but I fucking remember so many times putting quarters in that damn thing and doing Royal Rumbles and trying to do my best to fucking eliminate Hulk Hogan. Because even then, as a kid, fuck you, Terry Bollea. I hated your ass then. I hate your ass now. But nonetheless, and it seemed like Sergeant Slaughter was the only guy I really had luck with getting rid of his ass. So I don't know. But anyways, that's like my first memory. Really, was just playing in the arcades and stuff, and
That's
I
so
was
cool.
loved the Genesis. Played the shit out of Royal Rumble and like Raw and stuff. So, oh man, good times. But let's just talk about the history of it, like how it all got started. Of course, like we know, like with video games, I mean, practically everything has been licensed over in any format of a video game. I believe the first real known or talked about wrestling video game was actually from Data East all the way in 1983, Tag Team Wrestling, which was an arcade game and ended up becoming like a port onto, I believe it was put on the NES and the Commodore 64. Yeah, we're going really back.
I don't even know what a Commodore 64 is.
You're not familiar? Oh shit, son. Well, I got
I'm
okay.
right along there with you.
Yeah.
It's like I've heard of the Atari, but I don't know what the fuck a Commodore 64 is.
Ooh, that had already started off N64 better than gay game. Okay. I see you. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, my friend, because I want to talk first about the very first WWF licensed video game, which came out all the way in 1987. It was called Micro League Wrestling. And so the Commodore 64 was a computer-based system, and it was slow as fuck. It was awful. It was terrible. Like you couldn't even really. Matter of fact, let me just show you. Yeah. Dad hat was 2. I think I was 3 or 4. No, I was 3. Yeah. But let me show you. I've got some footage here from the Commodore 64, the gameplay footage of Micro League Wrestling. I want you all to check this out.
Ooh.
All right. And this is pretty terrible. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, love it.
Here we go. First of all,
It's Elizabeth.
place you've heard. So you literally just choose like your move set, and it doesn't even like see. It just shows. It shows you like doing it from like pre-shot footage already.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
definitely from an MSG live
Yeah.
show.
Right?
That's
Yeah. So you can
That's
see,
amazing.
and literally all you could do, you could only choose Hulk Hogan or Macho Man. That's it. Now they did release a later version where you could do Hulk Hogan against Andre the Giant. But yeah, you
Well,
literally
that's
just choose what moves you want to do, and thank God we've came so much further along
This
because
is
this is the
wild.
shit. Yep. And there you got Vince McMahon and Jesse Ventura on commentary at the bottom.
Oh
Rocky.
wow, that's amazing.
Oh yeah. Right? This is just this was the height of acceleration in the 80s, folks. Just think about it this way, like people bitching about video games now or something, the graphics or whatever. This is the shit I had to put up with back in the day, man. So, yeah, but you get the idea. Micro League Wrestling, it was pretty fucking terrible. I mean, it was I never played it. Like I didn't hear about it till years later, truthfully. And I was just like, what the fuck is this shit? Like the first game I actually remember playing on like a console back in the day. Dad, need to pinpoint the first game Jeff Jarrett was
No,
in.
we
So.
don't.
Oh, she about to. God, that is a good question. I do wonder which first game, because I don't remember him in being any of the WWF games back in the day. No,
He
that's.
was in, I know he was like in WrestleMania 2000. And
I think it was probably like one of the N64 games.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was the one I remember. The one I forgot if it was the WWF Attitude or the WrestleMania 2000 where they the people would have like the little catchphrase that they would say right before they would fight, and Jeff Jarrett's was "Don't piss me off."
the first video game Jeff Jarrett was in was WCW versus the World in '96 when he was part of the Horsemen.
So that he was, I couldn't remember if he was in that. And I think what you're talking about is Warzone. I remember that where they did the, oh God, now that's bringing back some memories. You like the Warzone screens? Oh
Yeah.
Jesus, those were.
Warzone was a trash game.
Well, I remember I remember freaking like the WCW games. I think it was for PlayStation where it was like you go around to the select screens and it's like pick me, come on, pick me or whatever.
Yes, the Nitro and Thunder like talking like pick me videos were amazing.
Those were Warzone stuff, not so much. And of course now, Carly, just know you made this happen. By the way, I pulled up some footage here of one of the most famous Warzone videos there was, the infamous Ahmed Johnson promo.
Oh God!
We gotta take a look at this. This is fucking great.
What that stupid little off the face, cause it's time to meet the real superstar WWE. I'm gonna beat you, and no one will come say you're sorry, Carlos. Just make sure you got plenty of insurance. Paul.
I don't know what he just said.
That was some Ultimate Warrior type shit. What was that?
With the ass whipping, I'm gonna give you in the ring. If you want to step up to play team, bring it on. Because I forgot to take my medication in the morning.
What the fuck?
That was a real bad move.
Oh dear God! And there's more.
Hey, if you want to play like that, there ain't nothing between us but air opportunity, boy. So go ahead, bring your toys and get a ring. Because there ain't nothing on this earth that's going to save you from this sad.
We gotta start doing intros to TikTok videos like this.
Oh, we should.
Point. Oh yeah.
All I hear. Did he just say titty? I think he just said titty. There you go.
And I wonder why Ron Simmons and D'Lo Brown hated his ass.
That was just, God, that was terrible. And they had others too for Warzone, I remember as well. But the Ahmed Johnson one obviously takes the cake. I mean, it was pretty fucking terrible. Like,
God.
but it was always fascinating to me, like the obsession with like freaking like those character screens or just those like video things that they would put in like PlayStation 1 games and like the Dreamcast and shit like that. But
the Thunder Nitro ones I watched for hours over and over again.
those were actually fun. Like shit, we're talking
Yeah.
about. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I'm sure I can.
Kevin Nat or Scott Hall flicking a toothpick at you? Phenomenal.
I remember DDP like didn't he call you Monkey Boy or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try to find this right now.
And Kevin
But
Nash drunkenly like, pick me if you want. I don't care.
yeah, Nash more or
my
less just like,
God,
oh
that's
fuck it.
right.
Yeah,
More or less
right.
just like, fuck it. Whatever. Pick me, don't pick me. I don't care. As long as you pay me. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
All right, I think I got it pulled up here. Let's check this out. Try to get to
This is just the intro video.
There you
You know,
go.
brother, you think you got what it takes to
Yes.
beat Hollywood Hogan? Watch you climb in the ring and try out the largest arms in the world. Hollywood
Fast.
style.
Fuck you, Terry.
Technical wrestler, high flyer, brawler. It don't matter what you consider yourself to be. When you're in the ring with the
No
crippler,
comment.
you're a loser.
You think you got the courage to step in the ring? I think you're gonna wind up with a snapped neck from the choke slam.
Ooh.
That deep voice was like, whoa, calm down.
You gotta be able to walk that style and profile.
Ooh. I'll never retire.
You really think you're ready for the stingray?
You really think you're ready for the scorpion?
I
death
thought
lock?
this
You
was
think you're ready
weird.
for a fatal
Because it's
encounter?
like, I feel like Sting kind of knew what he was going to do with this
Yeah.
character. Oh, here we go.
How'd you like to get power bomb?
Yes.
Come on, pick me. I'm
Yeah.
begging you, pick me. Please pick me. Yo, Chico, you selected Scott Hall. Get ready for a wild ride on the outside.
There you
You know, this
go.
gives like the old school like dating profile things where it's like, hi, I'm so and
This is
so,
why
and if
they
you want
call
to
me
pick
the
me,
total package. Do you have the pain threshold to withstand the torture
Totally
rack?
convinced I want to go on a date with Lex Luger. This one's my favorite.
Hallo,
out
hier ist
right.
Alex Wright. Wenn ihr High-Flying Wrestling Action wollt, den Spinning Sidekick, den Top Turnbuckle Dropkick, dann nehmt mich. Und der Sieg ist euch sicher. Ich verspreche euch.
He's like, what the fuck am I supposed to say? I'm going to have to speak German because my English
This
is
is
limited.
Booker T from
Oh,
Harlem Heat, hardcore OG brother from 110th Street. If any of you punks got the guts to step up to the plate, push the button.
Hey, all you
Well, at
suckers
least
out
he
there,
didn't
you
say
want
Hulk
to play the
Hogan was
game?
coming for
You want
you.
to play with the big boys? Put your feet on the button, because when you go down 110th Street, it's going to be on like neck bone sucker.
Ooh, yeah! Watch the flying elbow drop off the top rope. Not only beat people 1, 2, 3, but I hurt them real bad.
It only takes one of 1,000 holds to defeat you. If you think you're man enough for the challenge, step in the ring. Hey, monkey boy. Like there's a choice here? Good God. Pick the man with the plan. Pick D.
this had to be one of my favorites from this.
yes.
Hey, anytime you feel froggy, man, I'll slap on the buzz killer and rip your shoulder right out of the socket. Wolfpack style.
One of the greatest of all time.
Oh, yes. Let's get Eddie. Come on, Eddie.
Better be ready to wrestle, because you know when you're getting in the ring with Eddie Guerrero, it's going to be high flying and exciting.
Yeah, it is. Oh, man. I do love those. Those are pretty great. A lot greater than the Warzone ones. that's
Oh,
for
the
sure.
nostalgia, you guys. This is so great.
Oh, yes. Well, I feel like we got to do credit, like, so if we go kind of like in a quote, like a chronological, or of course, the first thing really was the WWF games. I mean, WWF was really the first like company to truly like have multiple games, like on multiple platforms and systems. I know as a kid growing up, I remember playing a couple of them on NES, and truthfully, most of them sucked. Like about all of them sucked on NES. WrestleMania was the first like real NES game, which came out in 1989. You also had like the WrestleMania Challenge, followed that by WWF Superstars. Or no, Superstars was for the Game Boy. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Which,
wow.
God, that was another story for another time. I think it was King of the Ring was the last one that came out on the NES, which
Yes.
King of the Ring was
Because I
fucking
think King of the Ring
terrible.
was also the last one that came out on arcade.
It's so fucking terrible. Like the NES gameplay on it was the fucking shits. It was barely playable. I only liked it because it had like some of the newer generation stars, or at the time, like you could get like Brett was on it, and like because before it was like shit. All we had was like Warrior and Hogan and Savage, and wrestlers of Slaughter, wrestlers of that era. The $1 Million Man, Honky Tonk Man, etc. So, I find it interesting too, like going back and talking about the first WrestleMania game. Like the characters you could get was only like 6, I think, but it was like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Warrior, Ted DiBiase, Honky Tonk Man, but also Bam Bam Bigelow was actually on that game. Believe it or not, you could actually play as Bam Bam Bigelow. So,
oh yeah, from his first stint,
from his first run, yeah,
yeah.
you could actually play as Bam Bam Bigelow, which is crazy. And Bam Bam Bigelow was in a ton of like WWF games throughout the years too. So. But those just some of the NES era games. Did you guys ever play any of the NES wrestling games?
No. I didn't. No.
Yeah, that's okay. You're not missing much. The one thing I will say though, in that era though, I think the best wrestling game, other than tag team or like pro wrestling on the NES, is actually a fun game. At least it was as a kid. Probably not so much now, but back then it was fun. But I would say playing the WCW had a game on NES, which was pretty
I've heard
fun.
about this.
It's actually pretty cool.
Not seen any footage.
Really? Well, I'll make your dreams come true, my friend.
Let's go.
Because I've actually played a lot of this game. I really liked it. I mainly liked it because you could grab a fucking wrench and beat people with it. Like I was just like, oh, that's cool. I can get a wrench and beat the shit out of people. This is fun. So let me see if I can. All right, here we go.
It's the little things that matter,
Right? It's attention to details.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get her pulled up here. There we go. Well, WCW wrestling for you. You're gonna crack up at the list of characters you can get on this game, Mike. So obviously, you get Ric Flair and Sting and Lex Luger and stuff.
When did this come out?
I believe it was like 19. Okay, so I think it actually got released in 1990, but it was 1989.
Okay.
So this is going to be like NWA, really, like
I was about to
wrestling.
say.
Yeah.
This is like right on the verge.
Yep. So we got Flair, we got Sting. Oh, sorry, get some lagging issues here tonight.
The fact that they couldn't put Deathlock in one line is hilarious.
We got Lex Luger. Look how menacing Lex Luger is. Like he looks like he just sat on a 10-hour drive on the Lex Express and wants to kill somebody. There you go, Mike Rotunda. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Mike Rotundo.
Yep.
Got video game footage? Wow. Did not know this.
Of course, you're gonna have the Road Warriors. They were on the cover of the game, so I mean.
Oh, so cool.
Oh yeah. I actually like the music. I'm like, I don't know. It's not as bad as definitely beats the hell out of the Commodore 64. Slap. There you go, little Dr. Death. Huh?
I might have to try to find this game.
Of course, the late great Kevin Sullivan was on this game too. Recently just lost him, R.I.P.
He was only 5'10".
Oh, he was small. He's short. But he was definitely short. Of course, you gotta get the dragon on there, Ricky Dragon.
Oh, how
theme
cool.
song. Got some Rick Steiner, dog-faced gremlin. This is like Varsity Club Rick Steiner too, by the way.
Yeah.
This one will get you, Mike. I bet you didn't know this. Hot
Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert was in a. Ooh. That
Right?
was so heavy.
Isn't that crazy? Also, you know, we're gonna have three birds in it. We got Mike PSA.
Oh, nice.
Which he looks like he's coked out of his mind in that picture. So
Yeah,
it's
he
pretty
was like healed. Fuck.
And then, the WCW Master. Look at the stats.
Ooh.
7, 4, 5, 10.
What is? They had a final boss?
That's the final boss, essentially.
That is so
That's
stupid.
cool.
Yeah. Let me see if we can get some gameplay. Oh, God. Here we go. Uh-oh. Oh, not a German suplex. Oh, yeah. Look at that sweet gameplay footage. So you're like, so after that, you're probably like, you definitely want to play it, right?
I actually do want to find this video and play it.
I mean, for what it was back in the day, but it was definitely the best wrestling game on the NES, in my opinion, outside of like the pro wrestling game. So like it blew the shit out of the NES games, which is interesting too, because it was actually, I believe it was developed, I want to say, by like Taito, which Taito was a really Japanese. A really great Japanese like game company back in the day. They put out a lot of great games. So, nonetheless, there you go. As we move on here, we go to the 16-bit era. Now we're talking. Well, actually, we got to talk. Let me talk briefly here about the. I mentioned it earlier. WWF Superstars, as well as the WrestleFest arcade cabinets. Like Superstars was the first one that came out. And it was like you could have like 6 guys on it. I think it was like Hogan and the Big Boss Man, Jake the Snake, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man. And then you all got to the end, and it was like a tag match where you go up against Andre the Giant and Ted DiBiase, the Megabucks. But WrestleFest was my fucking jam. Like, I fucking loved WrestleFest. Did either of you ever play WrestleFest?
Yes, on the
I have
arcade.
not.
Yeah, my I had an uncle who worked at an arcade, and they had all the WWF.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's dope, dude.
Spent a lot of time at that arcade as a kid.
Shit, I bet. I would.
I loved arcades, man. Well, speaking of arcades, I got to get a cheap plug in here because we were actually, this was a couple years ago, but we were in Chicago. Actually, it was the very first Forbidden Door weekend. And we checked out the world's largest arcade, Galloping Ghost, which this place was fucking huge in Chicago. But just so happens, I want to share a little footage from that because B-Roll and I actually did play WrestleFest. And, well, the end result wasn't so good for B-Roll.
Yeah, guess what? You are.
Of course, you know I had to get my old reliable Sergeant Slaughter.
I think you're in. There you go. You're there. Right now. You're like selecting right now.
Oh, wow. I take that back. I have played this before.
Okay.
Memory unlocked.
Take that, Warrior. This is for
Sure, you love when that happens.
SummerSlam, dude. You didn't want to go in business. Yeah, Sergeant Slaughter's kicking your ass and taking Dame's perfect. Oh, look at Slaughter slam.
I love the graphics on this game.
Slaughter.
It's really good for that time.
You're getting
Yeah.
perfect, bro. Are you Mr. Perfect, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're Warrior. Get him, Jeremy. Sergeant Slaughter will win this Royal Rumble. That's the last thing I do.
As a kid, I just used the Earthquake to beat up Hulk Hogan every time.
Stay down, Jay. All right. And then there was one. It's time to go home. Oh my God, he kicked out at one.
He kicked out.
Love this game.
Fudge. Oh no, not a plastic crab.
As a kid, you just put the quarters in so you get your power back.
Oh my God, he drop kicked me.
Oh, I'm sorry. There we go.
Yo, Sergeant, you made it so far. Devastating neck breaker. Oh, did you see that clothesline? That's it.
Love it.
Stay down. Oh my God. Freaking Rock must have just done some cocaine or something. Oh, here's my finish.
Well.
Over. He's gonna tap. He's gonna tap. Son of a gun.
Oh man,
You stay down.
love this game. There you go. Such a good time there. Seriously, if you're ever in the Chicago area, you got to check out Galloping Ghost. It is like one of the coolest arcades of all time. So, but I mentioned earlier, let's talk about like the 16-bit era. I want to talk about like Genesis and Super Nintendo, and of course, mainly WWF games. But you also had a WCW game in here too, as well. Super Brawl for the Super Nintendo was fucking terrible. Like the other game was fine that we mentioned, WCW. That was fun, but this game was just fucking awful. It had like the view of the ring was terrible because it was like a corner view, you know, and it just was like,
Oh no.
oh, it just sucked ass, and like the gameplay, like the buttons and stuff, ugh. But
So someone just didn't know how to make a video game?
it was a developer, so I think it was like a developer who was just like a third party that just was not popular. Because one thing too, we've got to mention this. So WWF had like an exclusive license there for several years with LJN, which of course we all know LJN as the toy developer, as well as they've developed video games. And pretty much LJN back in the day bought up like all the freaking properties that they could get their hands on of like movies and like pop culture and whatnot. And they're notoriously known for sucking ass. Like every LJN game is fucking terrible. The WWF games, they fall in that category too because they were fucking awful. But once we get into the 16-bit era, that kind of goes away. Then you get like better like developers coming in, like the kind of like are third parties that are with LJN, but like you get like Flying Edge came in and they did excuse me, they did the Royal Rumble game. I played the shit out of the Royal Rumble game as a kid. Like, did you all ever play Royal Rumble for Genesis or Super Nintendo?
No.
I didn't know.
Well, they made great figures, but they made shitty video games. That's
I
for
think
sure.
the only Genesis game I played was Raw.
Okay. What do you remember about Raw? Because Raw was a pretty dope game.
I loved it. Again, that was a childhood friend. His dad had a Genesis. He played with Sean Waltman, HBK, Razor Ramon. It was really good. The graphics were awesome.
Oh, yeah. At the time, it was just like such a huge step up from the NES, too. Like, I remember the Royal Rumble game. I was so fond of going to outside to the ring and picking up the steel chair and beat the shit out of my opponents. Even though you got like one swing with it, but still, it was one of the most exhilarating feelings as a child. I would get get Hulk Hogan out there and just fuck him up. It was so good. Ugh, I want to play Royal Rumble after this now. But nonetheless, and you mentioned Raw. Raw is a great game. Raw was like on all platforms, and it had a great roster too. With Bret Hart, you had Owen Hart on there, Lex Luger, Razor Ramon, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Diesel, 1-2-3
Doink.
Kid, Doink. Also, too, the first, I believe in that game was the first time a female wrestler ever appeared in Luna Vachon. She was a
Yeah.
playable character on there, so that was
Oh,
pretty
that's
fucking
dope.
cool. Right? Yeah, it was pretty cool. But those games were great in that era, I think. I remember like the WWF games, like the Super WrestleMania game and the Raw game. You could get different rosters on the SNES versus the Genesis, which is smart by
Yeah.
them because it was like, okay, I want to play it on this platform so I can play as so and so. Like, I remember like I think the Royal Rumble game on SNES, like you could get the guys you couldn't get on Genesis was like Yokozuna and Mr. Perfect. Tatanka, I believe, was a character as well you could play. And then of course the Genesis version, you got fucking Hulk Hogan, unfortunately, the Rick the Model Martel, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. It was just kind of like a different, I think it was like a more accurate roster was on the SNES version than the Genesis at that time frame, if you look at it. So, and then kind of the Super WrestleMania game, I can remember like you could only get 8 guys on the Genesis version, but on the Super Nintendo version, you could get like, I think it was 12 or something, because you could get like the Natural Disasters, you could get LOD, you could get Sid Justice and Jake the Snake Roberts, which is guys you could not get on the Genesis version too. Also, this time frame too, we got to talk about the these other systems come in like the Sega 32X. I remember, and Sega CD and stuff. Did you ever play any of those?
No, never heard of that.
Oh, for real? Oh man, dude, I am really showing my fucking age, but it's all good.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. The Sega CD though, like I remember when I loved the they had a game on there. It was Rage in the Cage, and it came out probably like 94 or something like that. But the roster was stupid. Like you could get so many fucking wrestlers on it. Like for a home console game, it was like crazy because it truly felt like an authentic arcade game because you could actually get 20 different wrestlers on here. Like listen to this lineup of wrestlers that's on the roster for Rage in the Cage.
Okay, I've seen this. And
Okay.
I'm looking at it.
You got Macho Man Randy Savage, the Head Shrinker Samoon Fatu, IRS, Lex Luger, Razor Ramon, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Bam Bam Bigelow, Yokozuna, Shawn Michaels, Rick the Model Martel, the Nasty Boys, Sags and Knobs, the Big Boss Man, Tatanka, Bret the Hitman Hart, the Undertaker, Kamala, Crush, and Mr. Perfect. All were accessible on Rage in the Cage. And also, too, this was like the first game since like I think it was like one of the WWF Superstars or WWF something for like NES where you could actually play in a cage. Although the NES cage match was fucking terrible, but this was like actually pretty cool. So, but yeah, that era for me, that's the one era I remember the most because that's like what I grew up on. But I truly believe this next era is probably where wrestling games truly came into their own. We're talking the PlayStation, Nintendo 64 era. I mean, let's ask this: is the N64 era of wrestling video games the best era?
Oh,
I go between that and the PS2.
Oh yeah,
yeah, good call. Yeah,
The PS2 era, those videos, they had a line of video games in the PS2 era that, like, in my opinion, cannot be beaten.
100%.
Yeah, that is that. Yeah, and we're gonna go do a deeper dive on that. But I think like this era though, like what we liked was how we went and transitioned to like where it was just like, okay, we're gonna license a game, put it out there, whatever, because it's WWF or WCW or whatever, right? And then there became like a focus on, well, let's actually make a game that's fun to play. Like here's a novel concept.
Here's a thought.
Yeah, let's make it actually playable. Before we were or we got to talk about this. I want to talk about like the PlayStation, because what I remember for it was like I think one of the first WWF games was in your house, and just like we said, the ridiculousness of this fucking game.
It makes no fucking sense when you play it, but it's so entertaining.
Yeah, because that was a really popular thing in this era, was like motion capture. So they would actually get video of the wrestlers and then put it in and pipe it into the video game. So it was just like, and this was a popular trend too. You know, Midway did this a lot. Like with the Mortal Kombat series was the first really one to do that. They did it with like Pit Fighter, just to name a few. But the In Your House game, I just remember being absurd, like I say, because you just played in like different houses and stuff. Like it was, like you said earlier, like Goldust was like in a Hollywood studio, and just I'm trying to remember them all. Like where was what was it? The British Bulldogs, like in a dog kennel or something.
Yes.
Like something ridiculous, man. Like
and then you had the Mounties, and you played like in the background of Canada, the mountains in the background.
Oh, was it? Oh, was that for Fader or something? Right? Because Fader was on that.
Yeah, that was Colorado, just out of nowhere. And then you had the mansion of Triple H when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley and the Aristocrat. Just made no sense at all. And then Bret Hart's was the dungeon.
Oh yeah, Stu Hart's dungeon.
So cool.
Of course, you had like what was it, like a graveyard or something for the Undertaker, I think.
Yeah. Like a Mortal Kombat looking like all brick graveyard with like you had Scorpion in the background for no apparent fucking reason.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, because Midway was always good about doing those little Easter eggs. Yeah. So the full roster of
and
so you had
British
10
Bulldog,
wrestlers.
you were like right in front of like Big Ben.
All right, you know we keep talking about this. I'm gonna pull it up now because I gotta see this shit. So
you were in front of Big Ben and like where the royal family lives, and the turnbuckles were the British flag.
Oh my god.
I remember as a kid at my friend's house, we would play this and Twisted Metal for hours.
Wow.
Oh, dude, Twisted.
I would get no sleep when I went to their house. Up for 72 hours playing PS1.
Bro, you're speaking my language. I can remember going over to my buddy Dustin's house and playing the shit out of like his PlayStation.
And then
man, so many good times.
Baseball.
Same with my cousin and I.
Remember playing games and watching R-rated movies. It was the best. God.
When life was simpler.
I know, right?
I love that sound.
All right. Oh, look, it's interesting. I forgot they did use like the Raw is War theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this was like off of the Full Metal album.
Yeah. This was like 95 or early 96.
I think so. All right, here we go. Yeah.
Versus Shawn Michaels.
Oh yeah, Warrior was on this game too. I forgot about that.
By the way, that's my favorite part about this game. This was made in 96 when he made 3 appearances and then got fired after beating up Triple H.
Pretty much.
He was fired.
Welcome to the new WWF generation. Welcome to In Your House. We are live.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, so this is Shawn Michaels. Like Shawn Michaels has a band playing in the background.
This is gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Hello. A gorilla press slam. It's the DDT.
Oh, the sick dancing in the background. This is great.
I know, all right?
The Ultimate Warrior gets the win.
And one girl just busted a move. Like,
oh yeah, they do like 2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah. And then you have this is the first game where you get to build up the finisher.
That was good.
You hit so much you hit combo.
A miss.
Now the thing is, though, if you're watching this now and thinking like, "Oh, this is fucking terrible," dude, back in the day, this was epic. This was like, wow, the gameplay on this is magnificent. Oh God, Warriors like, oh Jesus Christ, they electrocuted him.
The finish hims, they did those weird things like Mortal Kombat.
Tonight, in the squared circle, the ultimate
Yo, I need to find a way to play
versus
this.
Red Heart.
Immediately, this is great.
So I think this was only available on PlayStation and the PC, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh, and damn you, YouTube ads. Need to watch retro video games. There we go. Oh yeah, there we are in the dungeon. Look at it. Where's Stu? Is Martha like making like some chili upstairs or something? This is amazing.
Good night.
Oh yeah, look at all these guys Stu's gonna stretch later.
What's he gonna do? Not a good idea.
I like the WWF power-up too, by the way.
What a move by Bret Hart.
Interesting too, Mr. Perfect on color commentary on this game with Vince. It like definitely captures that era for sure.
Oh yeah.
I love how the guy's just doing push-ups out there at the
Tonight in the squared circle, the
Oh,
ultimate
WrestleMania 12
versus
rematch.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Maybe they're gonna go longer than like 30 seconds. But oh yeah, there we go. The mansion for Hunter.
Wait a minute. The Ultimate Warrior
The backgrounds is just, this is amazing. I love this.
Surrender to the power.
Oh dear God. Random warrior promo in the middle of the match. That'll fucking end anybody. What the hell does Hunter got? Oh, it's like a stick they use for horses or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's horse puppet stick.
Oh no! Oh God!
The Ultimate Warrior gets
Oh,
the
Papa
win.
H.
Tonight in the squared
Oh
circle,
shit!
the Ultimate Warrior versus the
Like I'm
Undertaker.
so invested into this now. I gotta see like these other fucking. There you go. All right.
Oh, that's so cool.
That one's pretty dope. I like this. I like, look at the turnbuckles too, how they're like skulls. That's pretty cool.
Customized? Yeah.
Someone needs to do that with turnbuckles in real life.
Right?
That was picture perfect.
That's amazing.
See ya, and I wouldn't want to be ya. Tonight in the
Oh,
squared
God.
circle, the Ultimate Warrior.
What were you? Oh, okay. Yeah, like at the gym. I knew this. I remember. Or locker room.
Into the ropes.
Oh dear God! Like Ahmed Johnson just did a shot of roids. Look at the guys in the fucking towels back there, just casually watching two half-naked men beat the fuck out of each other.
A hit. Oh my!
Hit him! To the power of the Ultimate Warrior!
Let's see what else we got here. Oh, here we go. Bulldog. Let's see Bulldog.
Section.
Oh yeah, there you go. Big Ben and everything.
Vertical suplex.
Hit him! The belief in the Ultimate Warrior!
Oh, Warrior.
Warrior versus
Oh yeah. Let's
the
see Gold
Bizarre-
Dust.
Nice.
This one's gonna be good, I bet. Oh yeah. Love it.
To the body. To the face.
Where's Marlena? That's what I want to know.
In the WWF. The Ultimate Warrior versus
God, Warrior versus Warrior.
Face yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, because this always
This game
happens.
was really dumb.
Oh, damn it. Damn you, ads. All right, yeah. So what the fuck? I don't remember Warriors, so we're in a desert with Scottish warriors? And
The Ultimate Warrior gets the win.
like, what the fuck is this?
Man,
So I guess this is parts unknown, huh?
Yeah.
Body slam. Ouch.
So weird.
He's out of control. The Ultimate Warrior. Owen Hart.
Oh, now where's Owens at? Do you remember? Is it the dungeon as well?
I think so.
Oh, really? Okay. They just got cheap. They're like, ah, fuck it. Let's just put Brett and Owen in the dungeon. We don't have enough time. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, King of Hearts. Okay.
Yeah.
Look out.
Nice.
What's he gonna do? He's just gone berserk.
Yeah, I want to see faders.
That was close.
This is just like in
Oh,
an
shit.
arena.
That's just the arena. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He's out of control.
Because Vader didn't really have a gimmick. Like, there was no like history.
Well, he sold real estate. We could have done that for him at least.
And you
Hold up. Are you
Oh,
talking
well.
Leslie sold an interstate?
Well,
I didn't know
fascinating.
Leslie sold real estate.
Yeah, he was a real estate guy. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Absolutely. Well, there you get an idea of that. But hey, you know what's interesting, and I wanted to talk about this because this stuff, I don't know, it just recently surfaced in the last year or so. But have you all seen the behind the scenes footage of where they actually shot like for WrestleMania the arcade game?
No.
Oh yeah, this is like okay. We got it because let me pull this up here because I want to talk about this for a minute.
This is just XOJ pulling up videos.
I'm just pulling up videos. That's learning the ropes tonight. We're freestyling it and shit. So
Yes.
no, this is actually pretty dope. Like this is actual footage of them filming the WrestleMania arcade game. Well, there you go. You see Undertaker.
Cool.
Yeah. So this is how they used to do it back in the day, kiddos. There's just like a crash pad there, and they're just telling them the motions to do.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they've got footage on like everybody, like Shawn Michaels, Bam Bam, Razor, Yokozuna.
Mark's like, I better be getting paid for this.
Here you go. You got like, let me show it. Yep, throwing a kick, doing the classic Undertaker pose. Could you imagine spending all fucking day doing this though?
No, I'd get
But I mean, at least you're getting paid, so.
I would hope so. But then again, back then, Disneyland was a cheap ass. So they might not be getting paid. It's just
So
an hour of Undertaker just doing weird stuff.
Yes.
Oh, this is.
Yeah, you can literally catch this video on YouTube. There you see Undertaker just throwing a leg drop. Like, can you do another one for?
My Morrow doing.
Yeah, just crazy. Like, how many takes do you need me throwing a fucking leg drop, dude? Like I say, this is how they used to do it back in the day.
That's great. One more time.
And again. And
He's
again.
pissed. You can look the look on his face too.
You can see it. It's just like, God damn it. Like, how many fucking views do you need of this shit?
He's like, all right, I'm done. Like, I'm walking
Like, I'm
away.
done. I'm done. I need my
Taking a
Jack
break.
Daniels. It's like, where the fuck is Godfather? We're going to a strip club after this. Fuck this.
He was definitely like, Yoko, give me some weed now.
Just throwing elbow drops over and over again. But yes, literally, there's an hour of that footage on YouTube you can totally check out. But you get the idea. This is pretty fascinating to me. Well, let's go and talk about let's talk about the N64 era, the finally when wrestling video games were actually cool. And I think it really all started with THQ. Has to be given all the credit in the world because THQ did it with WCW.
Hell
And then, of
yeah.
course, WCW, the THQ license ended up going over to the WWF. But with THQ, the first real great game they put out for N64 was WCW versus the World. Or no, I think that was for the PlayStation, I should say. And then it was like WCW World Tour for the Nintendo 64. Do y'all remember playing that game?
The WCW.
Vaguely, I know
tour?
my cousin had it when I would go over and play it at his house.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was great. It was a fun game, but it was the predecessor for what some may say is the best Nintendo 64 wrestling game of all time, WCW NWO Revenge. That is the Magnus Opus. That game is so fucking amazing. The roster is huge. The gameplay is awesome. Let me ask your memories. What are your guys' memories of WCW NWO Revenge?
Ooh, so many. My cousins had the game. Yeah. Just play for hours when I would go visit them. That roster was deep.
Oh my god.
And the unlockables. Because that was the great thing about Nintendo 64, PS1, and PS2 games. You can like go and get a cheat code book. And just get a bunch of stupid characters that had nothing to do with the video game.
Yeah, I remember Canyon, I think, was I remember you would unlock them by winning the belts, I think.
That too.
I think you would, if you won the WCW title, you unlocked Roddy Piper. I think, if that's what I remember correctly, but
yes,
right, yeah.
Man, that game was so good, and at the time you have this going on. You got with WWF. I mean, they have their they're doing like through Acclaim, which was fine, but just the games pale in comparison. Like Warzone and Attitude, like they were fun at the time, but like the just the controls and stuff was shit. The graphics were fucking garbage. I mean, I loved Attitude. I played the fuck out of Attitude as a kid. I mainly just loved it because of the roster and the guys you could get and who you could play as.
What I loved about like the WCW games is they had them all like put into their factions.
Yeah.
So it was like you had the NWO roster, you had the NWO Black and White roster, you had the Ravens Flock, you had the LWO.
Hey, speaking of Raven, I got so I'm gonna I've actually recorded this. This will come out probably in a couple weeks or something. But one of my wrestling bullshit facts of the week. This is interesting on Raven. Did you know the reason Raven actually is on the cover of the video game is because the developers loved his character?
Yes.
Like he wasn't originally supposed to be on the cover.
Yeah.
And the developers was like, no, we fucking love the Raven character. Like we got to put him on there.
Yeah.
And thus,
it made certain top tier names really pissed off.
Right. Yeah.
Because he was supposed to take Kevin was supposed to be on that spot.
Sorry about your luck.
Yeah.
But that game was just amazing. Like even if you look at the PlayStation ones, even with I think you had Nitro and Thunder for the PlayStation, which was fine, but the WWF games are just drizzling shits compared to the WCW ones. And then THQ ends up getting the licensing for the WWF, puts out WrestleMania 2000, and it's like, oh fuck, game over. Because WrestleMania 2000
game, oh my god,
it's so fucking good. Oh, so good. But what do you guys remember about WrestleMania 2000? Like, why was it so great?
everything, the music, the graphics were great for that time, and WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy was the where you finally were able to create a wrestler.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, which was so cool for that time.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
The creator wrestlers back then was so like that was so cutting edge. Like, oh my god, I can make my own wrestler. Like now it's like you could, and they purposely had certain character wrestlers gear and stuff in there where you could like
Yeah.
do cross promotional stuff and get like like a WCW guy there on a WWF video game. So it was pretty dope.
I thought the
But
rosters were great for both games too.
They
WrestleMania
were.
2000 and No Mercy.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a great game too in the sense it's the first time ever you could play as members of the Mean Street Posse. I mean, shit doesn't really get
Right.
much better than that. But as great as WrestleMania 2000 was, somehow they topped it with what many say, myself included, as the greatest wrestling game of all time, WWF No Mercy. Holy fuck. God damn, was No Mercy so good. Like how it's like somehow they improved WrestleMania 2000 by like 2000. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, I just loved the No Mercy. Don't disrespect Rodney. What do you guys think of like what was so special about No Mercy?
Everything.
Yeah,
I think even just the time period of like me getting the game, because I ended up, if I remember correctly, I ended up getting not only my Nintendo 64, but also No Mercy at Blockbuster. And it was just like I was waiting after school to get it. I'm just like, both my cousin and I were ready to get that game. It was just everything. And being able to create those characters, being able to like the music, just everything. It so amazing.
yeah. There's something special about like going to get a movie at a Blockbuster, going to hang out with friends on a Friday night, playing that video game for hours on end.
You're
The
speaking my
2000s was
language.
a good time.
Oh
God, you're speaking my language, dude. I can remember with a tear in my eye. Woo! I can remember. So my No Mercy experience, like it was the very first game in my life that I pre-ordered. And I remember I pre-ordered it at KB Toys.
I was gonna say you were in like college or high school when this happened, right?
I was in high school. Yeah. So I was
miss KB Toys. I was a KB Toy kid, not a Toys R Us kid.
Yep. You got the good deals there too. But I remember pre-ordering this, and my first job I ever had, I worked at a movie theater. Like, I'm this fucking old. Like, minimum wage at that time was like $4.85 an hour, and that's what I made. So I scrounged up all my money, and I bought that No Mercy game, and I fucking loved every minute of it. It was so good. First wrestling game where you could play in a ladder match.
Yeah,
right.
They had a lot of different first-time wrestling matches, and a lot of like the roster was crazy because you had the main guys, but then you had like you could play with Gerald Briscoe and Patterson.
Yep.
You could
Jim
play
Ross,
with Mae
Jerry
Young
Lawler, Mae Young, yeah,
and like Fabulous
Steiner,
Moolah.
Deborah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you were in the WWE at that time or the WWF, you were on that fucking game, dude.
Yeah.
Like, everybody was on that game. It was crazy. And like you mentioned earlier, the music, the selection screens, the gameplay, the creative wrestlers. Like, my favorite guy I made on that game was Jimmy King. I made a pretty amazing Jimmy King
would.
Great Rumble. Oh yeah, bro.
I-
Oh yeah.
Such a good movie. I watched that this
Amazing.
morning.
Oh yeah, let's go, bro. Oh, Jimmy King. But yes, man, I just everything about it so fucking good. And earlier, you guys kind of alluded to this too. Like, this is that era too, where it's like you're playing the wrestling games with your friends because your friends want to play because it's just like they're fun multiplayer games too. Like, up until this era, really, multiplayer on a wrestling game wasn't quite as fun. But like, you can get 4 of your buddies, like you're playing like, Revenge or No Mercy or whatever. And
Yes.
it's the best feeling in the world. I absolutely love this era. And it's just interesting to see how like the licensing bounced around, because WCW would still be making games, but now at this point EA Sports comes in, or EA Games comes in, Electronic Arts, to produce WCW games. And well, it wasn't quite as good as the Revenge and as World Tour, because they produced WCW Mayhem, which just the gameplay was off. It was fucking weird. Like the way, like everybody kind of had the same pose, very robotic. The move set was weird. Like everything about it was just off.
The best part about WCW Mayhem was the soundtrack that came off the CD. Because they had the WCW pay-per-view song with the Rough Riders.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
such a goddamn good song.
I can remember like the rosters was weird too, because like you had all your mainstays, like your Goldbergs, your Stings, your Kevin Nashes, Scott Halls, Hollywood Hogan, etc. But then you could get like people like Bobby Eaton was on the game. I was like, oh fuck, Bobby Eaton's on here?
That's because WCW had this thing where they would keep motherfuckers on the roster and they would appear like once or twice a month.
Right.
The fact that, Bobby Eaton and, who's the other guy from
Buddy Lee Parker, I think, was on the game too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like complete random, like, wow, they're on the game? It's like, okay. Now, EA wasn't quite done yet, because they would put out what many have said is the worst wrestling game of all time, WCW's Backstage Assault. Yikes.
Oh, I just puked.
Yeah. This game was the drizzling shit. Did you I know, Mike, did you ever play this, Carly? Do you even remember it?
If I remember, possibly, maybe even like maybe a couple times, because I just remember it being awful. I know my cousin had it, and it was just, we tried, and it was not it. It was not it.
Yeah.
It was bad, because the premise is you just fighting backstage. I don't even, if I remember correctly, I don't even think you actually fight in a ring at all. It's all backstage.
No, they didn't have one ring. It was just different parts of the backstage area. They had some of the weirdest members of the roster in this game, because they didn't even have a lot of the big stars. They had DDP and they had Goldberg, but then you had guys like Johnny Stamboli and AWOL and David Flair. No offense to David Flair, but
what the fuck?
And then you had like Captain Cajun.
Oh God, yeah, we're doing misfits and actions in this fucking game.
Yeah. Wow. Chronic's in the game.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you had Elizabeth and Evan Courageous.
Random.
And of course, Dad Had's favorite. Breaking 10,000 guitars, but never making a goddamn.
Listen up, slap nuts. I think he was on the cover of the game, actually.
No, Backstage Assault was.
Wasn't he on the cover? Or maybe it was Goldberg.
No, it was Goldberg suplexing Kevin Nash. Who, by the way, Nash isn't even in the game.
Oh, really? Nash isn't in the game? Wow.
No.
Huh. Interesting.
But no, it's the cover is him giving him the most awkward looking little suplex.
That's how you know it's going to be an all-time classic. So.
Yeah.
Well, now what's interesting at this time frame too, though, so we've got WCW and WWE, but now ECW gets in the fold, as they actually had their own licensed games. But what's fascinating to me about it is how pretty much Acclaimed came in who was doing the WWF games before, and they use the exact same fucking engine as Attitude, essentially, and thus you get ECW's Anarchy Rules and Hardcore Revolution, which I thoroughly enjoyed those games, mainly just because it was ECW guys on there. But looking back, they're pretty fucking terrible. It's like you barely hit like Tommy Dreamer with like a punch or something, and somehow his back is bleeding. Like you punch him in the face, and his fucking back has got like a little thing of blood on him. Like,
So, funny story. I was watching a Danny Doring interview the other day, and for not Anarchy Rules but Revolution, when they hit each other, the funny noises comes out, and it's because the wrestlers found out they weren't going to get paid for the video game, so they just started making fart noises, and like it's just like, yeah, we're just gonna fuck around here and not give a shit.
God.
I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing on so many levels. Now Anarchy Rules, a lot of people don't remember, but that was exclusive for the Dreamcast. I liked that game because it had more. It was the same engine as Attitude, but you had more gameplay options. Like one of them was like the Blistering Brimstone match or something like that. And it was essentially like there was like coals around the ring, and you just tried to set your opponent on fire. Fun, good times. And I also remember too, like the roster was about the same, but they added like some new guys on there. Like I think Chili Willy was even on that fucking game somehow. Which I'll throw back to you old school ECW fans. If you know, you know.
I love Chili Willy.
I love Chili Willy, man. He was a good wrestler. So now we move forward kind of like to the Xbox, PlayStation 2, GameCube era. And you know, at this point, this is where it's like finally you really start to go into takeover as the best games is by far the SmackDown series. So let's talk about the SmackDown series, which I got a feeling is pretty close to both your hearts. I feel like Carly, was you big like SmackDown, like versus Raw and SmackDown, like know your role, shut your mouth, all those games?
I play know your role, shut your like all those like that. See, around that time, my cousin had more of like the PlayStation games. I had the GameCube games.
Oh, okay. So you're
right.
like Day of Reckoning and shit.
Yes.
Huh?
Oh God,
okay.
Yes. Absolutely yes.
Well, let's talk about the Day of Reckoning. Oh, that's a big statement. What, talking about the SmackDown series? I don't think so. I still more for the N64 series, but anyways. But yeah, tell me about your what you love so much about Day of Reckoning, because I think that's like kind of a hidden gem. A lot of people hold close to them.
Yeah, for sure. I think there was a lot of different things I enjoyed because, I mean, of course, creating the character and everything. Since as the wrestling games got more and more like developed and everything, they added more of the creative character. You could do more. I liked these songs you could pick for the people because I forgot one of the Day of Reckoning games had a lot of Zebrahead, and then the other had it's a band called Zebrahead.
Okay.
But then there was the other one had like Breaking Benjamin as like a bunch of Breaking Benjamin songs you could choose from. And I was like, oh, okay. But I don't know, I think they were just hidden gems to me because not a lot of people I knew besides myself at that time played on the GameCube. So it was just my own little like, okay, I'll have Day of Reckoning to myself then,
Which is a good game, man. It doesn't get nearly enough love. The GameCube doesn't get nearly enough love, I think. I love the GameCube, man. Because at this point, WWF, they do it like, okay, SmackDown series is going to be over on PlayStation, and the Raw series is going to be on like Xbox, essentially. Which the SmackDown series was great. The Raw series kind of sucked, honestly.
Facts.
I mean, it just
Raw 2 wasn't bad. Raw 1 was trash.
Yeah. I think they even changed it, didn't they, Mike, to where it was like WrestleMania or something like that?
There's a game on Xbox called
Yeah.
WrestleMania 21, and is
Yeah.
the god awful most worst video game I've ever played in my life, and that's all video games.
That's saying something, bro.
Woo! It from the time you open it, it is laggy, it is messed up, it skips all over the place. It is WrestleMania 21 is the worst pro wrestling video game of all time.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I think I like the what I
But
liked
the
about
SmackDown series on PS2 was amazing.
Oh, it was amazing. Like, I think Shut Your Mouth was the first one I really was like, okay, this is really fucking good. Like, this is my jam. And then they topped that somehow with Here Comes the Pain. Because in my opinion, I think Here Comes the Pain is the best one out of the series. I love that game. It introduces the Elimination Chamber for the first time, I believe.
And it has that is my favorite SmackDown theme song.
Oh yeah.
Here Comes the Pain.
And then also too, it introduced the first bra and panties match. Ooh.
Yay.
Like what the fuck? Ugh.
They even did that for I think for sure. I know one of the Day of Reckoning games had the bra and panties matches too.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Mhm.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, you had to get the Scandal Cat women in all the video games.
Well, it was this, it was first of all, it's a stupid concept to begin with, but first, like the way it comes off about the play is just like it just looks convoluted and dumb. Like they're just grabbing and it's like a it doesn't look good for a video game. But yeah, the Here Comes the Pain I thought was the best one in my opinion out of the SmackDown series. Of course, then after that you go into the SmackDown versus Raws essentially. Which we really get those all throughout the rest of the 2000s, pretty much. Is there any of those?
Greatest line of video games ever.
What's that?
Greatest 4-line of video games ever. SmackDown
Versus Raw?
From,
Really?
05 to like 08, 09. Those video games are all amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like I say, my favorite was definitely well, I love Shut Your Mouth, but definitely Here Comes the Pain. There was just, I don't know, there's something special about that. Before he was coming on, unfortunately, shout out to Ethan from Ethan on a Forklift. He was gonna try to be on here tonight, but unfortunately had some stuff come up. But he told me he had this whole big dialogue and diatribe he was going to go on and talking about how I think it was 2006. Was his favorite video game of all time, the Raw SmackDown versus Raw from 2006.
Yeah.
Which like I kind of remember, but I don't remember anything sticking out like too much about that to me. Other than I think was that when they finally brought in ECW, or maybe it was like the next year or something.
That was
wasn't that 2008?
Oh, was it? Maybe it was. I don't know.
If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong.
Okay. Oh, I can see why he's okay, because this introduced the Buried Alive match, and it also had 2 new game modes, including General Manager Road and Create an Entrance. Is what this game introduced. So GM mode was a big.
I think 07 also has the craziest concept to create a finisher.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I got to be honest with you. Anything after 2006, I honestly did not play.
Because creative finishers, they let you go nuts, and they made you create finishers so crazy. There's like nobody can physically do this. It's in a video game, so it's okay.
And once again, at the forefront, this is why this series is so great. Is because of the license. It's all through THQ. THQ just knew how to make wrestling games, man. They fucking killed it. So the specs,
the storyline modes.
Yeah, you get into the storyline.
This is what I hate about pro wrestling the 2K series. I like being able to pick a guy from the roster and go doing a story mode. This whole you're doing a created wrestler and you're going from the bottom to the top is not a fan of.
You want to choose your wrestler. You want to be who you want to be.
Yeah. Someone from the main roster, and they were the story mode was more in depth, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. But the majority of the 2000s era, of course, was primarily ran by SmackDown, the SmackDown series, essentially. That being said, though, I do want to mention this because, like, we did have another company enter the fold in this time frame because TNA Wrestling actually put out a video game. You're like, are we got to talk about this? Yes, we are. We got to talk about TNA Impact, which was released on the PlayStation 2 and 3 by Midway. Well, it happened. I mean,
the only
Shouldn't have,
good
but it
thing
sure
about
did.
that video, only good thing about that video game is it introduced suicide on TV, which was outside of the name. Which, by the way, don't know how they got away with using that name on television.
But what Mike is alluding to, so the suicide character, if you're familiar with TNA in the past, was first introduced on the this Impact video game, and in actuality, they brought the character to real life in TNA, and Suicide, a former X Division champion too,
Yeah.
believe it or not. So I think that may be the first time that's done in wrestling history, where a character is introduced via video game and then put into this.
But the craziness is who played Suicide in its line of the wrestlers behind the mask.
Well, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here on this, Mike, but the first one was Christopher Daniels, right?
No,
Oh, who was the first one?
Frankie Kazarian.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
And then Frankie Kazarian went to the WWE because he had that short stint in the 2010s as the Future, and that's when CD took over.
Okay. So who else played the suicide character?
We have Frankie Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, Akira Rajin, Kazuchika Okada.
Okada played suicide? I don't fucking remember that.
For one night only in 2011.
Oh my
God.
Poor Okada.
And then from 2013, 2016, TJP.
Okay.
And then for one night only in 2016, Jonathan Gresham.
Really?
Oh, wow.
There has been a ton of people who's played suicide. That's crazy.
And then a guy named Caleb Connolly from 2017 to 2021. And the last person to play suicide was in 2020, and it's a one, Zachary Wentz.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Damn. That is crazy.
Suicide / Manic, because they changed his name.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
they
God,
were getting
that's right.
hate from the internet. Has a great line of wrestlers behind the mask.
Okay.
That's amazing. I did not know that.
Yeah, I
And then
didn't
Austin
know that
Aries
many
played it
guys.
for like 2 episodes of Impact when he stole when he went for Plan C.
Now that I do remember, but that's crazy. I didn't realize that many guys have played that role. And it's crazy to think all stemming from freaking a video game.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it? That's crazy. Well, of course, we're going to talk about the very popular 2K series here in a minute. But before we do that, I kind of want to mention some popular unlicensed kind of wrestling video game franchises. So these are wrestling video games that it wasn't WWF or WCW or anything like that. And the first one comes to mind. As a teenager, I played the shit out of this because I was obsessed with it because the gameplay was fucking amazing. It was imported from Japan, and it was like you could get every single wrestler imaginable, and that was the Fire Pro Wrestling G series. These games, if you've never heard of them and seen them, holy shit, you got to play them. They are fucking awesome. Like, you could literally play anybody on there from, like, Mitsuharu Misawa to, like, Ken Shamrock to Fader to Bret Hart, Steve Austin, like Antonio Inoki, the Giant Bot, like everybody you could think of was on this game as a playable character. It's crazy. And the gameplay is really good.
Speaking of Japanese games, do you have that picture I sent?
No, I don't think. Oh, no, I haven't seen it. What is it?
The You haven't seen the picture my friend sent me?
No,
Or-
I haven't been on the group chat. Let me get on there real quick. Is this of a video game or something?
Yes. So shout out to my friend Brett Pullen, who's a battle rapper from California. He went to Japan a few years ago, and he has the Japanese exclusive Virtual Pro Wrestling, which are the New Japan,
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh,
New
wow.
Japan, all Japan Pro Wrestling video games in his office.
Oh.
That's dope, dude. Okay, I see it now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick. Oh man, that's like
You showed me
Yeah.
those the first time a few months ago. I was like, okay, those are awesome. And then when you told me we were doing the subject, I was like, I need that picture again, Brett, because yeah, you're the only person in the States that I know has 2 Japanese exclusive All Japan and New Japan games.
Yeah. And like yeah, I remember this now in the chat from earlier now because we were talking about this how you had to have like a Game Shark to play the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Pretty much because like you couldn't play it like on a U.S. system unless you had a Japanese N64. So.
Yeah.
Another series I like now. This was even before like Fire Pro G. Well, actually, I say series. This was really a game, but Capcom put out a Saturday Night Slam Masters, which was just a fun game on the 16-bit system. It's very if you've ever played like Final Fight or anything like that, it's very much like that. Matter of fact, it has Haggard from Final Fight is in the game as a playable character.
Oh, okay.
So.
I don't know what that is. So.
Final Fights. So I'm a huge outside of wrestling stuff. My favorite genre of video games is beat 'em ups. So it's just like side scrollers where you just beat the fuck out, like the Ninja Turtle games from the past and stuff, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but one of my favorite series was from Capcom called Final Fight, which is an amazing game, by the way. But yeah, Saturday Night Slam Masters, they took that and just turned it into. They took Final Fight, and pretty much turned it into a wrestling game, more or less. Also, let's talk about the Legends of Wrestling series that was on the Xbox and PlayStation.
So good.
Not that bad actually, and you could get guys who signed exclusive contracts with him, like you could play as Bret Hart or Roddy Piper, Hulk Hogan.
It was a lot of guys who had bitterness towards Vince McMahon at the time. It was a lot of guys who had recently been fired or let go of their audience contracts or just had, you know what, Vince treated us like shit, so let's put ourselves in this video game.
Fuck it, let's do it. Yeah. Also, I think we got a bear mention as well because there was 2 games at least of this. And I know you're gonna love this, Mike. What about that Backyard Wrestling game series? Huh?
Oh hell yes.
So
yeah,
I am good friends with the guy who was in that both those video games. His name is Billy Welsh. His name is Billy Welsh. He went by Messiah in XPW and in ZZW. He had fun making those video games. He's told me some great stories about making those video games and hanging out with guys like ICP.
That is so cool.
Jack and Sabu. And yeah.
That's
and all
awesome.
the adult film stars. Because,
Yep.
Yeah,
that
it's
happened.
mostly like your deathmatch wrestling guys and a bunch of other independent wrestling guys. Like, I think AJ Styles is in the first one. Like early in his career. M-Dog 20. Nick Burke. Like, these are Sanjay Dutt.
Is in that game. It's a wild roster because, like you
Yeah.
say, it's like popular indie guys at the time, and then you also have like
wrestled for like ZCW or like Jersey All Pro and like Ring of Honor in that like early 2000s like blow up of independent wrestling.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right. It was really, really good.
And then like
for what it was.
Yeah, and then like Andrew CK's in that or WK
Yeah,
or
he
whatever.
does
his
like
name
the
is.
soundtrack and shit. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. Fun game. But as great as that was, I know this one's really going to hold a special place for you, Mike. Because I think, in my opinion, outside of like any like WWF or WCW game, this was probably the best wrestling franchise of video games. We got to talk about Def Jam Vendetta. Those games were fucking
I didn't know if you were going to.
I'm going there. I'm fucking going there, dude.
I'm so happy you did.
Yeah.
It makes no goddamn sense, and it's so funny.
Like,
So
yeah,
awesome.
it's like you said, like, what the fuck? Like, why do those even exist? But like, tell me guys your thoughts on that. Like, Carly, did you ever play that series? You ever heard
Very
of them?
little, but oh my god, I just remember it being so different, but still so what I'm into, just like with fighting and stuff. It was just another one of those games of fighting games that was just like, love it. Didn't make sense, but loved it.
The funny thing is, I'm the complete opposite. I usually just play sport games, but I'm a huge hip hop
Oh,
head.
okay.
Like, yeah, I'm usually playing NBA or basketball or pro wrestling games. But like being a hip hop head, like a huge hip hop head,
Oh,
that's
for
all I
sure.
listen to. Like being able to play as Buster Rhymes or Twista or
Yeah.
an E40, yeah, no, give me that all day. PD Pablo, like, and where
Hell
the fuck
yes.
is PD Pablo, by the way?
Right.
PD Pablo,
Where
make
did
a
he go?
comeback.
But it was interesting too because like it was like this was really like a redemption story for like EA because
Yeah.
EA is the ones who produced this, and you know they put out the shitstorm of those WCW games, and like these games blow the fuck out of those other games, man. Like this,
And
it
this
was
was some say this is their prelim to the EA Big Series, where they made all the street games,
yeah.
the NFL Streets, the NFL NBA Streets. My favorite part is like you got them like fight in the 106 and Park Studios,
Yeah.
like no sense at all, but fucking amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, this it was and the gameplay like and the storyline with it too was great too as well. Like everything about it was fucking awesome. Like
Snoop Dogg
it
is a final boss, phenomenal.
that's how you know it's a good game when Snoop Dogg's one of the final
Oh, yeah.
bosses. But let's talk about it. It's the series everybody loves. It's what everybody is so enamored with. They knock it out of the park here, especially in the past couple years. Let's talk about the 2K series for WWE. The I which is funny because like me personally, I didn't really start playing any of the 2K games until like I think like 17 or 18. Like cuz I wasn't really like it I kind of go through bouts like of like video game playing, you know. It's like or if I play stuff it's from way in the past, you know, retro stuff, you know. But do you guys have a first memory of like the 2K series? Is there any particular of the 2K games that really stick out?
So I first was able to play a 2K game because for the first couple of 2K games, didn't have the money to get them. So ironically, my first 2K game is the one people consider, well, not people consider, it's the worst. My first 2K game is 2K20.
Oh shit,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And that's trash.
The first one I bought was actually 2K19, and I think that's like one of the best wrestling games I've ever played still to this day. I love that game. Like all the creative wrestlers, all the different guys you could get. Like
Yeah.
nowadays, like everybody plays that shit. They do like the creators in that game and stuff, and the freedom and stuff you can do. It's mind boggling. What all you
Yeah.
there's like nothing you can't fucking do in those games. Essentially,
Right.
it is crazy. It's like I got 2K2. What was the last one we put out? 2.4, right? Or is it 2.3? This
No,
one with
2.4.
Cody.
Yeah, 2.4.
2.4. I've got that, and I have played it, and it's fun. But I just it's one of those things I don't really have a whole lot of time to play it, unfortunately. But I mean, it's been
Same
been a
here.
pretty fun experience. Do you guys have that, or have you played that the newest 2K game?
I do
I
have
have
that.
not.
Oh,
I
okay.
have 2K24, and it's really fun.
Okay.
And I'm very much I go in there and I'll go into the creator community and I'll download people's wrestlers and whatnot to create my own rosters. And I have a friend of mine who I know in the battle rap community, and he's created all of our battle rap friends.
Oh,
So
how
I just
cool.
have a roster of a bunch of my like battle rap friends who like are big names in the battle rap community, and I can just wrestle with them. It's really awesome.
That's pretty dope, dude. Like I'm amazed with all the people you can create and like all the things you can do. Like shit. Like this was truly like flattering. A couple years ago, B-roll and I forget, I can't remember the channel or whatever, but like somebody had made us as like a tag team and put us in a fucking 2K
Oh
game.
my
I was like, holy
God.
shit! Like this is fucking awesome. We're fucking video game characters now. That was some of the coolest shit ever.
I
Like,
ain't gonna lie, the details in this 2K24, like people like create like old time wrestlers and they look exactly like them, and it's just like the details in this and the time it takes.
oh
Like
yeah,
the people that have the time to do this is crazy.
yeah. It's nuts, dude. With the stuff
And
you
not
can
just
do
the
with it.
wrestlers, but like arenas.
Mhm.
Like there's people that will create like the WCCW, like
Oh yeah.
Universal, like all the different like old school like territories, and it's just like, how do y'all have time? Like
I
I
don't
got
see.
things to
Yeah.
do.
But I thank God that they do, and you can just download it off of them and play it and enjoy it. You know that
Yeah.
because I'm that guy. You know, um, yeah. For me, I absolutely, I love everything you can do with those games now. It's so cool. I think it's shit I
Yeah.
dreamed up of as a kid. I will say this too. I think another thing the 2K series has done over the years, it doesn't get nearly enough credit for opening the doors for talents returning to the WWE or start working with WWE. Because if you look back to originally when this got entered, when the 2K series took over, like one of the first guys that they used and signed an exclusive deal with was the Ultimate Warrior. So
Yeah, the Legend
Warriors kind of,
still
yeah, he
being
signed a
able
legend. Yeah,
be in
he
the
did
video
the
games is
2K
kind of
games,
cool.
and then that got him in back into the WWF. Another thing too, the 2K was the first deal with Sting coming into the WWE as well. That was the very first
Right.
WWE thing he did was like working with it. Because I remember that commercial still to this day where they introduced Sting, and it was like a goosebump, like holy shit type of moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But and there's been others as well throughout the years too. But
that's how the Dudleys came back.
the Dudleys, that's another perfect example too. Like just so many different talents that have come back through the WWE, through the 2K series. It's just crazy to think like a video game series could
They
do
need
that.
to take those celebrities out the game though. I ain't trying to play as Post Malone or MGK.
You don't want to play as Posty?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of it's a little much, but there's still enough cool characters in there and stuff. Like I dig it. Like I like the this last what they do, the Road to WrestleMania series or something where you could play old school WrestleMania matches and stuff. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
everything. I thoroughly enjoy it. That's a lot of people. This generation loves the 2K series, and that's another thing that's great about has done too is introduced a lot of fans to the WWE and pro wrestling by just playing the 2K series because it's so damn good and fun to play. So, I mean, everything they've done with 2K has been amazing. They've had a couple bad ones, like you say. 20 was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But I mean, right now that on fire, a lot of people say that this last game was like the best 2K they put out.
It's really, really good.
It's hard to argue. It's definitely hard to argue, that's for sure. But of course, we're talking wrestling video games. You know, we could not mention the game that was take forever to build and make, and well, kind of didn't live up to the hype. Although I still think it's fun. Let's talk about AEW Fight Forever.
I haven't played it.
You haven't
I
played
haven't
it?
played it either, but from what I've heard from other people, I've heard them actually kind of enjoy it.
That's the thing. It's for the fans. It's enjoyable. A lot of people dog on it, shit on it. I enjoy it. Is it as good as the 2K games? It's a different style game. Like I've always been old school. I love those arcade style, like that style of play, and that's really what it is, and essentially. Not a bad game by any means. It's fun. It's just I think the biggest thing is what people look at, and which really doesn't fucking matter because if you like the game, you like the game. But what us fickle wrestling fans do, oh, the numbers, look how much money they spent on the game and how they're like the game hasn't sold nearly enough. Well, yeah, they spent a fuck ton of money, and yeah, they probably lost some money, but still at the end of the day, they made a pretty damn good video game. So as long as you do that, I'm okay with. Like,
Right.
quit focusing on the fucking numbers, fans. Like, touch grass, enjoy wrestling. We say it all the time. Like, just don't give a fuck about ratings. Who the fuck cares about ratings? Who the fuck cares about attendance? Are you having a good time? There you go. Do you enjoy playing the game? Then who fucking cares how much goddamn money Papa Khan spent on the thing? You know? It doesn't matter. It's a fun
It's not
fucking
like
game.
they're funding him. Like,
Right,
they're
yeah.
the one giving Tony his allowance. Like, okay, here you go. How dare you spend that much?
It's like, are you the Khan's accountant? Then no, then shut the fuck up.
Right.
Papa Khan can spend all the money he wants, whether it's on video games, cocaine, going to Texas. It doesn't matter. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
I'm so happy.
Let Papa Khan do what he wants. I love you, Tony. I love you. Can I get a job? Even though I just accused you of doing a lot of cocaine, but I still love you. It's just a joke, Tony. It's just a joke. Anyways.
You used him of being Bobby Brown and then asked for a job. Yeah.
Oh shit, man.
Is that Tony's prerogative? Find out next time.
On learning the ropes. We'll see you next
time. Threw the ball up and then she hit it alley-oop, and I'm so fucking happy.
Fuck. So as we're kind of finishing up here under discussion on video games, like I do want to point out a couple odd and end games in the wrestling genre. There's just like head scratchers, kind of. Let's put it that way. And I found this in my research, and some of these I haven't even played. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like the first one, and I had to look up gameplay footage of this, and like we showed you earlier the Micro League Wrestling footage. There's another game on the Commodore 64 called Sergeant Slaughter's Mat Wars. It is fucking awful. It's fucking awful. Like you play as like a manager and you manage wrestlers, and it just it freezes all the time. You don't wrestle. It's fucking garbage, dude.
That's weird.
It is. Yeah, it's really, really, really bad. There's another one. This was in Japan. I found this fascinating. But did you know Mike Cutie Suzuki had her own game? It's called Ringside Angel.
I have heard about that.
Yeah, so there's an old ladies wrestling game that, and I believe this was on the Famicom system, I want to say. So yeah, so this is all the way back in the 90s. It's like, how crazy is that to think that
wow.
This one I want to talk about for a moment. This was for the game. I think it was Game Boy Color. There was a game called WWE Betrayal, and it is ridiculous because it's not a wrestling game. It's like a side-scrolling kind of like beat-em-up game. You can either play as Stone Cold, The Undertaker, or I think The Rock. Mm-hmm. And the whole premise of the fucking game is you have to save a kidnapped Stephanie McMahon, and if you save her, you get a WWE title shot.
Okay, we've done this show for almost 2 hours, and we have not mentioned the greatest PS2 game of all time. And I'm kind of pissed off at myself. WWE Crush Hour.
I was going there. That was the next one I was going to fucking talk about. Like, yes. Yes. Crush Hour. Carly, are you familiar with this?
Very vaguely.
It's WWE meets Twisted Metal.
Oh, that's sick.
It's the greatest thing in the fucking world.
So the way the premise of the game goes is it's like Vince McMahon has bought like every TV station whatsoever, and he has nothing but WWF superstars like on different shows. Like it starts off, it shows like Kane doing a fucking cooking show or something. It's fucking weird. But one of the things that's taken off is monster truck like demolition, like fucking yeah.
It's literally WWE metal. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, WWE Crush Hour. Wow. So you're literally, it's not wrestling. You're just in a fucking monster truck or different vehicles trying to like murder other wrestlers.
Just Trish Stratus's car.
Yeah, it had like, you had, and that was
Trish.
Of course, Stone Cold had a monster truck. Undertaker, I think, had a hearse or something.
Motorcycle.
Or no, he had a motorcycle. That's right, because this is Biker Taker.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
With guns in the front.
Yeah.
The Rock, because he's a movie star, has this gold car with stars on the wheels.
You had like
Yes.
guns and stuff. The Hardy Boys was in this game. I think the Dudleys were in it too.
Yeah. Benoit had a Jeep.
All right.
For reasons, I guess. I don't know. Who else was in? Test was in that fucking game.
Hogan,
You said-
Hogan was.
Oh yeah, Hogan was even in that game. Yeah,
Was
which
he
is
after he returned.
yeah. So this is like kind of like pre like kind of ruthless aggression eras when this game come out.
Yeah. This came out in
Okay. And you could get it on all platforms. So it was on. You could get it on freaking PlayStation. You could get it on fucking Xbox, GameCube, like all that.
Yeah, Kurt Angle had like an American flag.
It's incredible.
Oh, the absurdity of it. I fucking love it, man. But yeah, WWE Crush Hour was crazy.
That just hit my brain. I was like, holy shit, Crush Hour.
It's so funny because that literally was the next game I was going to mention. They also, WWE also kind of did some like funner arcade crazy ports. Like they did WWE All-Stars and WWE Battleground later on. Was some fun games they did.
Those were the mobile, or no, yeah, that was that weird game where it was super arcadey and whatnot.
Very arcadey, yeah.
Yeah.
You would do like
All-Stars.
shit where like you're jumping up in like the air 20 feet and doing backflips and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Before we close out here tonight, I want to ask you a very important question.
Ooh.
What is your Mount Rushmore of wrestling video games? Yeah. I know. I went there. I'll give you mine to start off. So for me, I definitely I go with No Mercy, of course. I mean, that's obvious. WCW NWO Revenge. Have to have it on there. I will say I want to put the Royal Rumble on there real bad, but there's two other. It gets an honorable mention. But because I gotta go with these other two games, I mentioned it earlier. I loved SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain. That one goes on mine, and then finally, I have to give it to one of the 2K games. Like I say, I mentioned earlier, 2K19 for me was my favorite of the 2K. So that's my Mount Rushmore. WWE 2K19, SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain. WCW NWO Revenge, and WWF No Mercy.
Okay. So I think for my Mount Rushmore, one, I mean, obviously I gotta go with No Mercy. That was the beginning game for me for wrestling games. So that has to be number one. I'm gonna have to agree with Here Comes the Pain. I forgot if it was Raw or SmackDown versus Raw 2008. Whatever one had the ECW, like added ECW.
Oh, yeah, the 08 with Marcus Corvon and Kevin Thorne.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be number 3. And tie for number 4 would be both Day of Reckoning games for me. Because again, like with the GameCube for me, I was pretty much like the only kid that not only watched wrestling and but also had that game and everything. It was like, both those games. Hell, any of the wrestling games from GameCube. But yeah, like I think definitely Day of Reckoning 1 and 2 will be in tie for number 4 for my Mount Rushmore.
So for me, it's the first SmackDown versus Raw. WWF SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth.
Oh.
Ooh.
Backyard Wrestling 2.
Oh.
That's a good one.
That one's got to be my honorable mention.
Yeah. And then I'm actually just going to put 2K24.
Respect.
Okay.
That's good. I mean, it's a good
yeah.
game. So I respect that. I respect both of you. So it's great. And I'm so glad Day of Reckoning got some love tonight because I really thought that was a fun series.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, There's been some amazing, good and bad games throughout the years in pro wrestling, but I think we've covered them for the most part. But leave us a comment. Let us know what your favorite wrestling game is. Let us know what your Mount Rushmore is. But before we close out, of course, we got to end it right. We got to end it with a plug of Palooza. And as always, we always start off with our guest first and foremost. Carly, tell us where everybody can find you.
Well, you can mainly find me on TikTok, cakeface_Carly. And you can catch me on Instagram, same handle and everything, but I'm barely on there, mainly on TikTok.
There you go. Got the tick-tick-tock that it don't stop. And soon, by the way, soon you can catch Carly here on PW60 as she will now be handling all of our GCW reports. So we're excited to have you on board with us, and because you do such an amazing job covering independent wrestling.
GCW bestie for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I can't wait to hear the report this next episode because, man, GCW had a big week in Japan, coming back to LA on Saturday.
Still got more coming, too.
Yeah. A busy time. Get ready to start up with Homecoming too. So yeah.
Oh yes.
Gonna be here before you know it. Well, Mike, my friend, tell us where everybody can find you, my friend.
MJ Duplessis 1992 on all social medias. You can catch me here every other week, talking with XOJ. You can catch me on numerous shows on World Championship Wreckage. Also here on Russell 60, talking about independent pro wrestling around the country. So
there you go. And of course, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, you can catch replays of our SummerSlam week is now available. You can catch our SummerSlam vlog as well as our GCW vlog in Cleveland. You can also catch where we went to the WWE Superstore. And this week has been a busy one on Cole TV as well. As you can catch a replay of Pro Wrestling 60, as well as our newest episode of The Hunt, which was awesome, where Jay, Sienna, B-Roll, myself got to check out a place called Applejack's Toys in Cleveland, which was awesome. That is available now. And also, you can catch a vlog where I got to check out a great independent promotion based out of Indianapolis called Naptown Pro, who ran their annual Lucchini card. So that vlog is available as well. And we've got some fun stuff coming up for you next week as well. You're going to want to stay tuned for that. Of course, it'll all start next Monday with a brand new PW60. And as we mentioned earlier, don't forget you can get our merch over on ProWrestlingTees.com. Just look for Cole TV. You can get a Cole TV shirt. You can get a PW60 shirt. All that is available over on Pro Wrestling Tees. And don't forget, it's only 8 days away. The Smitty is coming. It is going to be the biggest independent wrestling show of the year coming to you in Spencer, Indiana. A SpongeBob SquarePants themed wrestling show, a 16-person tournament all in one night. You're not going to want to miss this. It's going to be amazing. And Cole TV will be there. We'll be representing. We got some surprises in store. It's pretty cool. Can't really talk about them here, but you're going to want to tune in when we put that vlog out in a couple weeks as well. So that being said, that is going to wrap it up for us tonight here on Learning the Ropes. And we want to thank Carly once again. Thank you so much for coming on. We had a blast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This was so much fun. Thank you guys both. This was awesome.
Absolutely. Can't wait to do it again, my friend. And everybody have an amazing, awesome weekend. And we'll see you next time on another episode of Learning the Ropes. Everybody take care, brush your hair, do all that stuff. Bye.